Hello again, let's continue with the project. I realized I've shown you now about doing dividers, but you haven't seen the need for why it was there, and those are already done, but we are going to do some more. So I'm actually going to build this rig, and you'll see at the bottom here is your build full version. I already had a prefab from previous tests, so it's just telling me it's going to replace it, and there the model is built. So if I run this now, you'll see yeah, some vertices are being pulled by these shoulder pads from the head neck area, and it also happens by the legs here, but it's more, you can see it on some other animations better. There we go, you can see it over there how it's put in there. So we're going to want to fix that, and we're going to want to fix these that are getting pulled here and these here. So that's going to get done with dividers and also with some custom bone weight assignments. You will notice though the feet are completely separated and not pulling, so that is what we achieved there, just so you know. When you've built a model, this is good that you actually see this now. It places it in a preview tool. There is a setting on the original script just to tell it to do that. It doesn't get included in the actual prefab, just to this version in the scene. But so now we're going to make some changes. I'll just delete that model right there and click here and say debug window, and that will just show our project again. So you can also, this also helps, let me just point this out. If you want to know which voxels to exclude or to include, etc., you can show your original model. I'll just move it forward or bring it up, and you can get some ideas of where you might want to take some voxels out or leave them in or so. So to build the shape in general, remember you build in a shape out of squares, so you can't keep it exactly the same, but you can get an idea of what to exclude, what to leave in. So having done that, I can see that I would love to eliminate these here to separate the head from the shoulder areas. So I'm going to say mark for exclusion. I'm going to say mark for exclusion. There we go. And let me just actually color these shoulder pads quickly. Cache color. Put this in. And that one as well. I'd like to keep that as part of the shoulder based on the shape that we saw. Okay, great. So to go about fixing this problem with the vertices that have been pulled apart, let me start off by working on the body. So I'm going to hide that, not exclude, just hide. I'm going to hide that and do the same on the right hand side. There we go. So firstly, I would like to separate, the head rotates a lot and it pulls the vertices, so we can get quite a nice effect if we separate the head off of the body. Now this is not done with dividers. The dividers are used to force it to have faces there, but we can do it with some general bone weight assignment. So I will select all those voxels there, and over here I'll say use custom bone weights and say set, and then for bone 1 I'm just going to set it to head, and for bone 2 to head. I think that should be fine. I'm going to also now, like I said, I'm going to tell it to force it to have bottom faces, because there are adjacent voxels here, so we know that it would leave the faces out, so we want to keep the faces in. So I'm going to say bottom true, and I'm going to hide them. Equally opposite, these faces that are beneath the head would also be excluded, based on that there are voxels actually adjacent, so we will tell them to force to have true. The same will actually happen here by the arms. We've hidden those, so I'm just going to select all of these and tell them to force them to have their top face. So I'll say top true, and The same is going to happen down the side here, where when the arm is separated, the voxels are actually adjacent. It would eliminate faces. We're going to separate them. So I'll just select these down here and force them to have their left faces true. And I'll do the right faces here. So there we've forced dividers over there, and dividers on the top here. We set a custom bone weight. I'm going to do that for the body now as well. So I'm going to select this whole piece of the body there, and I'm going to say when you do a multi-selection, you have to use a button to apply. So I can switch this on and off. It's not doing anything until whatever state it's in. When you click set, that's what gets applied. So we'll set use custom weights, and same thing for these. It won't apply it until you click set. So for now there is only one bone for the body, which is spine. I'm just going to change it to that, and I'm going to say set it to that, the first two bone weights. So now it's forced those to use those bones. Right, let's show all the active voxels. Now I'd like to do this on the arm piece here. I'm just going to select these. Now they have adjacent here, so we're going to force them to have right hand side faces. So I'm going to say right true. And for this one we're going to tell him to have bottom true. Let's just do the same here. It will be the opposite, it will be left true. And this one will be the same, bottom true. Now what we can do here, there might be some vertices from here that are slightly weighted to the head, so we can do the forcing of the bone weights again. So it never changes the actual weight value, it's just changing the index of the bone. Now we can use shift select to actually select it in now, and I'm going to force select this to use the left upper arm. Okay, and I'll do the same here. Select those, shift select, get that in there. To use custom weight, and this will be the right upper arm. Again, remember, changing these doesn't apply to you have to click set. Okay, great. I'm going to save my work, and we can build the full version again. Overwrite the prefab. There we go. Let's have a look what that looks like. Okay, great. Almost right. I see we have not excluded some vertices there, but in general you can see that those are pulled apart, and those faces have been kept, and those faces have been kept, and those faces on the side there have been kept. Let's see if we can fix the head quickly. Delete that model, just bring back the debug window. Select the head again. Let's see what happens. There we go, they've been separated. Great, so there you can see. In the next video we'll just tackle between the bottom of the legs there.